The juror's contentions. The victim may not be well off, but he's a nobleman and straight up. There's no reason to doubt the man. Well, I do declare the good gentleman has no reason to lie. In fact, I think he's rather splendid. Just look at the accused by comparison. He's Japanese, stoops... Okay, hold on. He's Japanese, suits a well has a mustache. Very fishy. Very racist! There's no evidence to suggest the gangling actor is a fraudsman. For now, at least. I really don't care, like... I just need his trial to end quickly. 3 hours of missing time is nothing when you reach my age, you know. Nothing at all. That last statement is fair. I knew it. Every single one of them seems completely convinced. Not really. Some of them just want to go home. You've seen that all the jurors have come to the conclusion Mr. Shamspeare is a fine, upstanding, and honest citizen. If you ask me, they've all been bewitched by his strange theatrical movements. And sadly, nothing Mr. Natsume said appears to have registered at all. Well, here goes. Let's not forget. I've pleaded with the jury on Soseki-san's behalf before, and it worked. So you never know. Before we begin, it might be an idea for me to remind you exactly how Sumeichi examination works, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh. Well, you're still very new to British law after all. That's true, I suppose. And Soseki-san's fate is entirely in my hands now, too. There's always a chance I might have forgotten some crucial detail. Perhaps I should hear Susato-san out. I wonder, should I let her talk me through it again, or not bother? No need! We don't need to do this again. This is episode 34 of the series. We don't need a refresher. Thank you for the kind offer, Miss Susato. But I've been through plenty of these Sumeichi examinations already now. I think it's important that we don't delay the start any longer than necessary. Of course, I understand, and I'm quite sure you're right. If you're confused by anything at any point, you can turn to me for advice whenever you like. I'll be here for you. The key to this is really listening carefully to each juror's statement, finding two that are contradictory, and pitting the corresponding jurors against each other. Without further ado, please, counsel, proceed with the summation examination. Yes, my lord. Looks so stupid. The defense's rebuttal. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I want to press juror number 4 because I think she has something to add to this.
Hold it!
A fraudsman? What do you mean by that, madam? It really is the most tiresome problem for the company, most irritating. We can be absolutely certain that a customer is stealing from us, but without hard evidence, we can't even threaten to take action for fear of being sued. I'm sorry you've lost me a little there. Who are you? I'm the wife of Augustus Alamont, owner of the Altamont Gas Company. Good gracious! Ultimate gas, you say? Gas is the future of energy in this country and around the globe, but proper handling is essential. As I'm sure an employee from the East End branch office would be the first to agree. Absolutely, Lady Quidby. Gotta be used properly. Altamont gas is best in the world, of course. I think we may have solved the mystery of the bow from earlier, Mr. Naruhodo. Right, he bowed in deference to his employer's wife, did he? So I'd be right in assuming that the reason Mr. Minaman was watching what Mr. Shamspeare is up to in his room. I'm afraid that there's no end to the lengths the population of the East End will go to in order to steal our gas. So I really have no choice when the company identifies somebody as a possible fraudsman. But to dispatch a worker to watch the suspect day and night, we're very thorough in our investigations. So you mean Mr. Shamspeare is... I wouldn't come out and say it in public. But you could finish that sentence with a grubby little gas thief. You have noticed the public gallery in here, have you? The eye of a man hath not heard. The ear of a man hath not seen. Faith, wouldst thou wound me with thy words, were I to let them penetrate the skin? But seraphs hear not insults, only choirs of angels in song. We may not have evidence yet, but my workers won't stop buzzing around until they find it. Okay, I was wondering, yeah, they seem to all have like a bee motif going on. That umbrella looks like a bee with a stinger. And when they do, you'll find yourself blasted back to your angelic heights in the ultimate gas explosion. Wait, an ultimate gas explosion. Mr. Shamspeare has been stealing gas. I wonder, juror number 4, if you wouldn't mind adding that information to your statement? My pleasure. Was it the bit about ripping that thief apart you enjoyed? A little before the part about abject violence, if it's not too much trouble. Yes, of course. This could be it. This could be the shift. This could shift the balance. Victim puts on a fine performance, but in reality is a common thief of our company's gas. Okay, so he's saying there's no reason to doubt the man. She believes he's stealing gas, so I think we want to pit these two against each other. Objection. Those two statements are fundamentally at odds with one another. Clearly not. My lord, it's a foreman of the jury. I must object. Okay. I'm just gonna save you guys some time here. Okay, I wasn't wrong to pit juror number 1 and 4 against each other, but I have to press juror number 1 first. So let's see what he has to say. Hold it! Well, there are plenty of people in London who seem noble but poor. Couldn't some of them also be liars? I've no doubt about it. Like that shaky client of yours, for example. Absolutely not. Mr. Natsume is no liar. Look, the point is, the only thing that passed the victim's lips that night was the Japanese man's tea. When you take the gasman's testimony into account as well, the truth can't be any clearer. Well, that's alarmingly logical. But let me be frank here. I'm a gentleman with a gentleman's values. If it turns out that the old Shakespearean chum is a rotten liar after all, I'd gladly change my decision about the defendant. And I'm sure my fellow gentlemen of the jury would do the same. Isn't that right? Well, yes, perhaps, though I don't see it happening. What's that? Elderly gent on the end here, you know. You'll have to speak up. Look, I really don't care about all this nonsense. I just need this trial to be over. How many gentlemen do we actually have on the jury, then? Alright, sir. I may hold you to that. Don't forget what you said. Alright. Now let's pit them against each other. Number 1 and number 4. Objection! Those two statements clearly contradict each other. Good gracious! To whose statements do you refer, counsel? Juror number 1. What are you yelling about, lad? I presume you've heard juror number 4's statement, made by the wife of the owner of Altamont Gas? Well, yes. The victim, who you claim to be a noble, straight-up man, in fact, turns out to be a common thief. So the good lady says, but there's no evidence, is there? You and I both heard them say as much. It's true, we don't have any evidence as such, just yet. But the claims aren't baseless, you know. What? You heard me. Seeing as his operation has already been compromised, I would suggest that the court hears testimony from our East End branch office employee over there. I'll do whatever you say, milady. Gasman's honor. Juror number 1, you say you're a man of your word. If I could show that Mr. Shamspeare was a liar, you assured me that you would reconsider your decision about the defendant's guilt. Yes, I did say that. As a man of honor, I'll hold to it. as I'm sure the other gentlemen of the jury will. Me? Oh, well, yes. Now that we've found out the man's a liar, perhaps we ought to consider the matter further. Well, if I'm perfectly honest, I haven't heard half of what you all have been saying. So if this means you'll recap a few points, that would sit me down to the ground. Oh no, I'm not having any part of this. I want this trial over and done with. In that case, I shall change my leaning. So, Mr. William Shamspeare, if that is your real name, we have the jury demand to know exactly what kind of a man you really are. That's 4 jurors. 4 for not guilty. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Victory! Order, order! Well, this is quite extraordinary, I must say. As a result of the defense's summation examination, the jury's leaning has changed. Now only 2 jurors say guilty, whilst 4 say not guilty. I therefore declare this court to be in a state of disaccord and order the trial to continue. God, I've missed your antics so much. You have spoilt the bouquet, Mr. Shamspeare. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury now find they are unable to trust you, the victim. But you gods will give us some faults to make us men. So God mend me, I do swear. This gas man speaketh that which concerns him most, naught but gas, naught but thin air. Aye, it burneth bright a while, but it hath no substance, and it doth reek foul. Oi, what'd you say? Do I take it, Mr. Shamspeare, you deny the allegations of the gas thievery? Most heartily, my lord. Hast thou forgot? I am as a seraph, an angel. Noble of mind, sweet of nature, and verily, honest of heart. Ah, you flowery-mouthed pompous beanpole! Just because I haven't gotten evidence yet. Mr. Shamspeare, if in fact you are not noble of mind, sweet of nature, or honest of heart, if you are a liar, then your testimony should have no sway in this courtroom. It is my considered opinion that at the present time, no other possible culprit of this crime has been identified. All testimony heard by the court thus far heavily implicates the defendant. In short, it would not be unreasonable at this stage for me to rule on the case. Oh no! However, in light of the fact that the jury has expressed concern about the fidelity of this witness, I believe it would be inappropriate for this court not to pursue the point further.
Objection!
I assure you, my lord, that would be a waste of the court's time. The gas in this case are unrelated. Juror number 4. Yes? Didn't you say before that although you had no hard evidence to prove this man has been stealing gas, you have strong grounds for suspecting him? That's right, we do. Don't we, worker? Absolutely, Lady Quinby. Gasman's honor. Oh, I just realized her name is a pun on Queen Bee. Okay, I'll give you that one. That's relatively... It's subtle and clever. Very well then, we will hear your testimony now. You will tell the court precisely why you believe the victim, Mr. William Shamspeare, has been stealing gas. Yes, my lord, it will be my pleasure. On the Altamont gas... If I may, my lord. Go ahead, madam. This worker's testimony may have a significant bearing on the good name of my husband's company. Therefore, I should like to take the stand alongside him in a supervisory role, if you wouldn't mind. Oh yeah, sweet as honey. Yeah. Very well. As an exception, I shall honor your request. Thank you, my lord. You wait till the boss gives you an earful. Ooh, it's gonna sting, you mark my words. So, you will both testify before the court on the subject of the illegal consumption of the Altamont Gas Company's fuel. Yes. Is that clear, my good man? Clear as Altamont Gas, my lady. Which is the clearest in the world. Do you think the gas has gone to his head, Mrs. Atto? I think the man is just a very dedicated employee, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm proud to be the company's East End branch investigator and meter money collection agent. Altamont gas meters accept through penny bits. Each coin given to customers about 2 hours of gorgeous gas. And yet, the meter in Mr. Shamspeare's room didn't have a single coin in it. The meter doesn't appear to have been tampered with, though, and the collection agent has the only key. Somehow, he's using all the flaming gas he wants without paying a penny. If that's not thieving, what is? Pray forgive the discourtesy. The irrelevance of this testimony caused me to turn to my hollowed chalice. What do you mean by that remark, Lord Van Zeeks? Did the mustachio Nipponese poison the ganglion excuse for an actor, or didn't he? That is all that concerned this court. And yet now we must listen to this abhorrence. Clearly, what separates the vast British Empire and your Eastern Island nation is more than geographical distance. But this could turn out to be a crucial testimony. The cross-examination must go ahead. What the heck? Dude, stop breaking everything! Do what you will. Lord Van Zeeks appears to be in a violent mood. Yes, he does. An attempted poisoning and an incident of gas theft with no supporting evidence. It's true that they would appear completely unrelated at first glance. But I wonder, the truth tends to be buried in the most unusual places. And the first step in uncovering it will be to establish just who and what this man really is. Alright, let's start pressing the statements. Hold it! So, does that mean you enter people's houses in order to empty their gas meters? That I do. Have to try to catch people when they're in. Then I ask permission to come inside and do my business. Does that mean you've been to Mr. Natsume's room before, as well as that of Mr. Shamspeare's? Well now, interesting you should bring that up, because I couldn't believe how little money was in his meter. I mean, how the pair of them survived the winter's beyond me. It really is. Knowing Mr. Natsume, he probably spends all his gas money on books. And then when he's finished reading them, he probably burns them for warmth. You will kindly reiterate your statement about the gas meters themselves, Mr. Meterman. Not much to say, really, but as you wish. Hold it! So all London houses that have a gas supply are fitted with these gas meters, are they? They're the latest model, the height of technology, developed by our company, Altamont Gas. And anyone who uses our gas will have one of these meters in their property, yes. So if a 3p coin gives 2 hours of gas, most people would use about 3 coins in a night. A bit more than that, usually, if they have both gas lights and a gas stove, that is. Thinking about it, Soseki-san does have a fireplace in that room of his, does he? Some people still choose to use candles, of course, and only have gas for heating. Yes, I do remember seeing candles in Mr. Natsume's room, actually. And how does the money in the meter get back to you at the gas company? Every 3 days, gasmen like me visit properties on the gas supply and empty the meters of coins. I must say, the design and manufacture of the new meter costs the company an awful lot of money. But happily, it did put a stop to people not paying their dues, for the most part. Because they have to pay in advance, you mean? Yes, exactly right.
Hold it!
Out of interest, how long has this been going on? Weeks and weeks. He's been pitching gas off of us for ages. And you've examined the meter in Mr. Shamspeare's room, I take it? Naturally. We took it off the wall and went over it with a fine-toothed comb. And found nothing suspicious at all, I presume. No, I'm afraid that we didn't. Which is exactly why I demand a new type of meter be produced. One with an indestructible lock. The Shamspeare Special. That sounds like it would have cost an awful lot of 3-penny pieces. But even after all that, the rascal's meter was still empty! I'll never forget the humiliation. When I opened up the money box, I found it bare. You what? I said. You what? And the look at his face, the smarmy smile of his. I pulled the meter straight off the wall and took it back to the office. But you know what? Nothing. Not a trace of being jimmied open anywhere. Not a single coin. And what's happening to my salary as a result? Down by 3 shillings a day, that's what. A life-threatening situation in a number of ways. Incidentally, what became of that meter? Nothing became of it. I still got it. Oh. Right here. No wonder they call you Meter Man. I think it would be prudent for the court to sequester this item while this trial is ongoing. Gas meter has been entered into the court record. A meter that dispenses gas for a set time after a coin is inserted. It sports a very strong lock, developed especially with Mr. Shamspeare in mind. Definitely. Although, at first glance, there doesn't appear to be anything unusual about it. Let's move this along, shall we? Continue with your testimony. Though I would say it has much value as the contents of that meter. Oof. Oof, indeed, my friend. Okay. That is definitely important, but I'm gonna press every statement just in case there's anything else.
Hold it!
There's only one key for all of your meters? Well, in truth, there's another key in the company vault at our main office. But even if someone had somehow managed to get a hold of a key, we'd know if the coin box had been opened. Oh? How? I came up with a rather clever way to expose any little shenanigans as it happens. Would you care to explain? Well now, in order to empty a meter, you have to unlock the padlock and remove the cover. But when I close the cover again, I stick a little beeswax seal on it, you see? A seal? Like the sort of thing you put on an envelope, you mean? Something like that, yes. Basically, you can't remove the cover again without breaking the seal. Now, in the case of Mr. Shamspeare's meter, there were no coins inside at all, as I said. But the seal hadn't been broken either. So that would mean Mr. Shamspeare somehow managed to steal coins from inside the meter without opening it. It would seem so, but that would be impossible.
Hold it!
How do you know that he's been using the gas, though? Well now, since I started investigating this bloke, I've been to his room more than a few times. And on every single occasion, his lamps have been blazing, and and his stove pounding. It's the middle of winter, and he still turns to me, sweat dripping down his cheeks, and says, "Get thee to another ear." Hamlet, indeed! Ugh, I could wring the bloke's neck. I get all hot under the collar, but still. Every time I open up the flaming meter, it's empty. He's rubbing me at my celery, too. What's wrong with the world? Where's that justice? But how can Mr. Shamspeare possibly be stealing the money? I don't understand. The simple explanation is right before your eyes. What? A toast to your eventually realizing that the gasman could be an accomplice. You what? Good lord, eminently plausible indeed. Well, what do you have to say for yourself? Oh please, Lady Quimby, I'm a faithful worker. And besides, if the money us gasmen collect doesn't tally with how much gas has been used, you dock are paid by the same amount. So you'd be stealing money only to have the same amount taken from your wages. Clearly that makes no sense. Perhaps it's a case of losing the battle to win the war? No, I'm not gonna stir it up that hornet's nest. If I would steal from the company, I'd be finished. It would seem there is no evidence to support the claims of thievery made against the victim, because Mr. William Shamspeare is innocent. Pray forgive me if that shattersome illusion of my Lord Nepenthe's friend was clearly under. Ugh. I certainly didn't expect to uncover another crime that looks like it's been taking place in the very same room. According to the testimony, it's only the meter in Mr. Shamspeare's room that's under suspicion. It does seem as though perhaps it has nothing to do with the incident involving Mr. Natsume. I know, it doesn't seem that way, but the fact is, since I've been practicing law in England, I feel like I've encountered this at least once already. Cases that are interlinked. Oh? It might seem that the two cases have nothing to do with one another first, but in fact, they're intimately connected. Yes, we have experienced it before, haven't we? I wonder if this is another instance. Perhaps, but we can't be sure of that yet. If the Altamont Gas Company has been investigating Mr. Shamspeare so earnestly, there must be something to it. But then how has he been managing to steal their gas? Okay, so I want to go ahead and examine the gas meter now that we have examined this. There seems to be a hole here. Oh, have you spotted something, Mr. Naruhodo? Just here, there's a little hole. Do you see? Goodness, you're right. I wouldn't have noticed. It's not a very neat hole, is it? Not professionally made, I'd say. So, you think it might have been opened up by Mr. Shamspeare? Possibly. It seems that people at Altamont Gas have missed it. Well, it certainly seems to go all the way through to the inside. Yes, but there's no way a coin could fit through there. That's true, but even so, it seems more than a little suspicious. Okay, so there's a tiny hole in the base. Okay, so she said the meter does not appear to have been tampered with. We know that that is, in fact, not the case. It has been tampered with. How it got tampered with is weird, but it has been tampered with regardless.
Objection!
Lady Altamont, I'm afraid to say that this meter clearly does show signs of having been tampered with. What? Get away! I've been over and over that thing! I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with it! In that case, what do you have to say about the small hole that's been made at the base of the coin box? Hole? What? You're right! You're quite right! There's a little hole there! The meters aren't supposed to have that! None of the others do! In other words, we can assume that Mr. Shamspeare secretly opened up this hole himself. Yes, I wouldn't be at all surprised, but why? Yeah, why? I mean, it's tiny. You couldn't get a farthing through that. Lady Altamont, I wonder if you could give the court some more details about your meter design. What sort of details? Well, what I'd specifically like to know is... I think it would be how it differentiates coins. Dismantle doesn't seem relevant here. How does the meter tell the difference between different coins? What do you mean? Well, for example, if someone were to put in a 1 penny coin, that wouldn't work presumably, would it? No, of course not. So, well, how does the meter know that the coin it's been fed is a 3 penny then? Ah, I see what you're getting at now. The meter tells coins apart by their shape and size, which includes their thickness. A 3 penny bit is about 3/4 of an inch in diameter. You see, other coins just won't fit. Ah, I see. It's clearly been very well thought out. The witness will amend her formal testimony with that information in case it is pertinent. As you wish, my lord. Meter designed for coins the exact diameter and thickness of a 3 penny bit. Nothing else will fit. Alright, I want to go back. There was something here that was bugging me. Oh, look at this bar of soap. There's a circular depression on the side, about 2 centimeters across. Or 3/4 of an inch. Ah, do you think... We did find the soap at the scene, didn't we? Yes, there were 2 bars on that little ledge just outside the window. So we took this one. But I'm sure that when we first found it, there was some sort of reddish medallion in the middle there. I remember it clearly. Yes, but there's no sign of it now. Where could it have gone? Alright, so the bar soap details have been changed. Okay, and while we're here, I'm also going to examine the teacups. This is the teacup from which Mr. Natsume was drinking. Yes, unlike the other one, the inside of the cup is completely clean. I suppose he must have drunk the contents before the tea had a chance to leave the mark. I always gulp it down too. Sorry, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, if you just sip a little by little, it goes cold. Clearly, I shall have to instruct you in the proper way to take tea. There's no tea on the inside of Mr. Natsume's cup. Okay. Good to know for later. On her amended statement, we're going to present the bar of soap.
Objection!
Let me just confirm something here. If the diameter and thickness were to be correct, the meter would accept any object as if it were a threepenny bit. Is that correct? Yes, that is correct. Well, by something of a coincidence, while we were investigating Mr. Shamspeare's room, we found a particular item that matches the dimensions perfectly. Something the same size as a threepenny bit? What was it? The item in question is this. What have you been inhaling gas? That's a bar of soap. It certainly looks nothing like a threepenny bit, I must say. It looks like I'm gonna have to point out exactly what I mean here. What's so important about the soap is it's the part here. It's the giant.
Got it!
It's the giant circular portion there. You have to turn over the soap to see what I mean. Ah! Are you referring to that round depression in the middle of the soap there? That's right. A depression that's approximately 3/4 of an inch in diameter. Or in other words, almost exactly the same size as a threepenny bit. Get away! Does anyone here present have in their possession a threepenny bit? Quickly now, hand over your coins, ladies and gentlemen. It sounds rather like a highway robbery, doesn't it? A little. Seems desperate, like the course is desperately trying to get money. Thanks to a kind member of the public in the gallery, I have here a 3-penny bit. Now, to see if it fits. My word! It couldn't be more snug! Yes, as I suspected. This, without a doubt, is a vital clue to explain how the Ultimate Gas Company is being defrauded. Well, I don't believe it. So, your assertion amounts to what? That some inferior bar of soap has a tentative connection to the theft of gas? Yes. The depression in the soap was clearly made by a 3-penny bit. I must concur, at least, that pushing a coin with some force into a poor quality bar of soap such as this is a remarkably simple way of replicating the coin's shape. And then you could use, well, some melted wax or something to pour into the mold. You can make fake coins in no time. This brings all the pieces of the puzzle together. It's the method Mr. Shamspeare has been using to steal the gas. That's the missing link. And now, if I follow the chain of thought, it's going to bring me to a new explanation for what happened that nobody's considered yet. But this is all nonsense. If the man had been making fake coins, my worker would have found them when he emptied the meter. Quite true, Lady Altamont. In the absence of some black magic that can make them disappear. I see. That's what we're dealing with, is it? There's one form of black magic that could cause the fake coins to disappear into thin air, yes. Exactly. And the meter here gives it away. What on earth? There are remnants of the magical method used visible on the gas meter taken from the victim's room. If that is your assertion, counsel, the defense will identify these remnants for the court at once. Where on earth the meter remnants of the method used to make fake coins disappear can be seen? It would be the bottom, right? Because things could just fall out.
Got it!
We found this bar of soap at the scene of the crime, just outside the victim's window. Outside? Yes, outside, where you yourself, Mr. Meademan, were loitering in the freezing winter air. That's where we found this soap. Ah, I get it! That's right. The answer, of course, is ice. Did you say ice? Mr. Shamspeare has been leaving soaps like this outside his window each evening filled with water. After a night outside in the bitter cold, the water is completely frozen solid the next morning. Then he takes his fake coins of ice and feeds them into the gas meter, giving him light and warmth in spades. As his room becomes very comfortably warm, the ice now inside the meter's coin box melts, turning back into water and draining harmlessly away through the small hole made in the underside of the meter. That is how, without leaving any evidence of his wrongdoing, this man has been stealing Altamont gas. Just like that. So simply. Is he trying to make us look like idiots? He's been fooling us all with some bars of soap and some water? That's right, madam. I don't believe it. It can't be true. Do you have any idea how much money we spent to develop that new meter? And now you have the audacity to suggest that a bit of soap and some water can render it totally useless? I'm fairly sure I didn't design it. Evidence! Sorry. I want evidence. If you're going to stand there and tell me our meters are rubbish, I want to see proof. She's very good at enforcing accountability, isn't she? Why are you getting so emotional? Very well, Lady Altamont. If you'd like evidence, I'll provide it. What? Mr. Naruhodo, are you saying you do actually have evidence to support this theory? I did notice a trace of something that bothered me a little at the time. I have a feeling that this theory we've come up with could explain it. A piece of evidence that substantiates the theory about how Mr. Shamspeare has been stealing gas is... So if you take a look at the crime scene photo, you notice that the ground here is all wet. So that means it's probably melted ice.
Take that!
This is a photograph of the scene at the point when the victim was discovered, taken by Inspector Gregson. And it clearly shows the remnants of the crime carried out by Mr. Shamspeare. What remnants? Here you can see the gas meter on the wall in Mr. Shamspeare's room. Now, look closely at the floorboards directly underneath the meter. What is that? Some kind of grubby stain? Almost certainly, it's a water stain resulting from the liquid that drained out of the hole made in the meter. Ugh! If one coin gives around 2 hours of gas usage and the occupant was heating his room in all his waking hours, we can imagine he would have used around 10 of his fake coins each day. The melting ice inside the meter's coin box would have been dripping out almost constantly, leaving a stain on the floor. This is awful. And there's further evidence too. Mr. Shamspeare is slumped over his table, apparently having consumed, strychnine? I don't know. I give up on that word. And right there next to him is a bar of soap, broken in half. You're right. It would appear to me then, counsel, that the man was eating the soap, was he? Pardon me for disagreeing with your lordship, but certainly not. He didn't beat about the bush there, did he? In truth, Mr. Shamspeare was found with a fork in his hand. A meal of soap sounding increasingly likely, Lord Van Zee. Did you mean to say he was using that fork to... Yes. To extract the frozen coin from the bar of soap. Huh. But the bar broke in half. So perhaps it didn't go very well. Good gracious! Why? Every time! I feel bad for whoever's in the public gallery and getting hit by that every time. Lord Van Zeeks? I was throwing my hand up in despair and happened to catch my hollow bottle in the way. Pray forgive my maladroit mistake. What is the meaning of this, counsel? Allow me to pose my learned friend a question. What exactly did you establish in the most recent cross-examination? Well, that Mr. William Shamspeare is a liar and a thief. In other words, that his testimony is unreliable. That's it. That's exactly it. Very well. Let us assume the man is a liar. Now, allow me to pose another question. What possible difference does that make? Well, we know that suicide can be discounted. Scotland Yard's investigation revealed no sign of another vessel that contained poison. And on the night in question, there were no visitors to the room except the accused. The young gasman's testimony, which we have no reason to doubt, has confirmed that. Furthermore, The only possible way the poison could have entered the victim's body is via the tea. The court has seen no evidence whatsoever that suggests otherwise. Even if William Shamspeare is the liar you claim him to be, these facts have been objectively established. There's no escaping it. Wah! Therefore, in light of these facts, the prosecution calls for immediate adjudication. You... What?! Order, order! Well, counsel, how does the defense respond? Mr. Naruhodo! What was the point of that last cross-examination? Did it actually get us anywhere? Or did it make no difference at all, like Lord Van Zieks is saying? Well, obviously I want to raise an objection. No, this isn't over. The defense will not rest. What? But, counsel, you've successfully explained everything. You've identified and substantiated the unscrupulous method employed by Mr. Shamspeare to consume gas. What more is there to discuss? Lord Van Zieks just highlighted 3 facts in order to make his point. But contrary to what he would have the court believe, not all of them have been objectively established at all. What are you trying to say, my Nipponese friend? At least one of those so-called facts is an assumption made due to lack of evidence. But the situation has changed now, following the cross-examination of the latest witnesses to take the stand. Don't be absurd. What is this nonsense? Yes, when you bring everything we've learned so far together and consider it as a whole, it's clear. There's a question we now need to reconsider, namely... Yeah, we still don't know if there was actually poison in the tea. We're just assuming that. We've all been led to believe that the strychnine poison that afflicted Mr. Shamspeare was in the tea brought to him by Mr. Natsume, but that's conjecture at best.
Objection!
The victim has testified that nothing else passed his lips that night. There's no other possibility. And since there was no trace of the tea left at the scene, it couldn't be tested for traces of the poison.
Objection!
As I've said, the situation has changed. Because in fact, some of Mr. Natsume's tea was left at the scene. And a particular piece of evidence proves it.
Objection!
A ludicrous claim. Scotland Yard detectives investigated the scene exhaustively. What evidence are you suggesting they missed? The defense has made a bold claim indeed. Very well, counsel. Present your proof. What evidence from the scene of the crime can tell us about the nature of the defendant's tea? So, despite what you might think, it's actually the soap.
Take that!
Good gracious! The soap again? The same bar the victim used to fashion his coins of ice? Yes, that's right, my lord. It's just come back to me. Something about when we first found this bar of soap at the scene yesterday. It's more bars of soap. Soap? What are the bars of soap doing lined up on the ledge outside the window? I'm quite certain that when we originally stumbled upon the bars of soap, there was actually a frozen coin in each bar. So you discovered the gas thief's coin factory. Fascinating. In a way, yes, but there's more. The coins we found in the soap at the time weren't normal ice. There was something strange about them, you mean? Exactly, something very obviously strange. They were red. The ice was red? No, you mean... That's right. It's obvious to me now. The fake coins in the soap were made from frozen tea! What?! I would remind the court of a statement made by Mr. Natsume earlier in this trial. That evening, yes, I did take some freshly brewed tea with me when I visited Mr. Shamspeare's room, as a gift. The public water pump outside always freezes at night, so I bought bottled water especially to make it. And this is the result. Never will I touch tea again. Never! Ah, yes. I believe there had been a snowfall that day. It was particularly cold. Sadly, on such occasions, the poorly constructed water mains in the East End are prone to freezing. So on the night in question, Mr. Shamspeare, having no running water to use, was forced to use the tea brought by Mr. Natsume in order to make his fake coins. My word! There were 2 bars of soap on the window ledge when my judicial assistant and I investigated the scene. That's right, and we only borrowed 1 of them. Which means that even as we speak, some of the defendant's tea is still present at the scene of the crime. Frozen solid in a bar of soap outside Mr. Shamspeare's window. Extraordinary. Earlier today, Inspector Gregson informed the court that even if one drop of the tea remained, Scotland Yard would be able to analyze it for poison. As such, we are now in a position to prove or disprove what has until now been mere conjecture. By finding out for sure whether or not Mr. Natsume's tea actually contained strychnine at all. Ah! You smug Nipponese! My lord, we cannot do the defendant the injustice of passing judgment now. The police should be dispatched to recover the remaining bar of soap from the scene at once. And the defense requests a thorough analysis of the frozen tea embedded in it to determine whether or not it contains any poison. Bailiff! Bailiff! Instruct the police to attend the scene at once. Yes, my lord. Understood. It would seem we have no choice but to suspend these proceedings for the time being. I trust you have no objection, Lord Van Ziegs? None, my lord. Scotland Yard will recover the tea from the scene and carry out the requisite tests immediately. The trial will resume at the same hour tomorrow. The prosecution and the defense may conduct further investigations as appropriate in their interim. Yes, my lord. Well, we managed to scrape through there somehow. Thank you, counsels. Court is adjourned until tomorrow.